our ancestors painted stories of the hunt on cave walls, tales of survival in a world where humans were not masters, but part of the wild food chain. Then, a transformation began. We learned to control nature, to cultivate the land. This was the birth of agriculture, the start of the Neolithic era. As the last ice age retreated around 12,000 years ago, the Mesolithic era witnessed a shift in climate, ushering in warmer conditions. The increased temperature transformed the landscape, replacing large open tundra with dense forests. Humans adapting to these changes developed smaller, more intricate tools like microliths, which were efficient for hunting smaller forest game and fish. However, this period was only a transitional phase leading to something far more profound. Around 9,000 years ago, the Neolithic era commenced, transitioning human society from a primarily nomadic existence to a settled way of life deeply rooted in the emergence of agriculture. This era, often referred to as the Neolithic Revolution, saw significant developments in various regions across the globe, with the Fertile Crescent of the Middle East playing a crucial role in early agricultural practices. The Fertile Crescent, a region arching from the Nile Valley through the Levant and into the Tigris and Euphrates river valleys, offered rich soils and a favorable climate for the cultivation of wild wheat, barley, and other crops. This environment proved instrumental in the development of agriculture. Archaeological evidence suggests that the domestication of wheat and barley in this region dates back to around 10,000 years ago, predating the commonly referenced start of the Neolithic era. The domestication of plants was accompanied by the taming of wild animals. Dogs, already domesticated in the Mesolithic, were joined by sheep, goats, and cattle. This shift from hunting to herding and farming had profound implications. Settled agricultural communities began to emerge, leading to the construction of the first permanent dwellings made of mud brick. These early villages, such as Jericho in the Levant and Çatalhöyük in modern-day Turkey, were the precursors to the first cities. Hand in hand with these developments came advancements in tool-making. Neolithic humans began to craft more sophisticated stone tools, including grinding stones and sickles, essential for harvesting crops. Pottery, crucial for storing surplus food, was invented, marking another leap in technological progress. These tools and practices were not uniform but varied regionally, influenced by local resources and needs. The Neolithic was also a period of significant migration. As agriculture spread from its Middle Eastern heartland, it reached Europe, Africa, and Asia. Agriculture gradually spread into Europe. The farming economies were progressively adopted throughout the continent, starting from the southeastern regions and moving westward and northward over the millennia. The spread of agriculture is considered a crucial factor in the Neolithic Revolution, leading to the establishment of settled communities and a departure from hunting and gathering lifestyles. The migration of farmers from the Near East into Europe also had profound genetic and cultural implications. Studies have shown that the ancestry of early European farmers was predominantly of Near Eastern origin, with admixture from local hunter-gatherers. This mixing of populations resulted in significant cultural exchanges and the adoption of new technologies across Europe. The physical appearance of these Neolithic farmers also changed over time, with evidence suggesting that they were initially dark-haired, dark-eyed, and lighter-skinned compared to hunter-gatherers, but darker than most modern Europeans. This spread of agriculture was not just a story of progress and growth, but also one of conflict and transformation. The encounter between agricultural communities and indigenous hunter-gatherers often led to tension and conflict. In some cases, farmers absorbed hunter-gatherer communities, while in others, they displaced or annihilated them. In Pyrenees at Elstrox, Spain, evidence of violent conflict between migrating early farmers and indigenous hunter-gatherers around 7,300 years ago has been discovered. This conflict is noted for its early evidence of intentional violence within the Neolithic period. In Neolithic settlements, evidence of social stratification begins to appear. Some houses and graves in these villages were more elaborate than others, indicating the emergence of social hierarchies. This era laid the foundations for the complex societies that would follow, leading to the development of cities, states, and eventually civilizations. As the Neolithic era progressed, around 5,000 to 7,000 years ago, human societies across the globe continued to evolve and diversify in remarkable ways. The practice of agriculture, which had begun as a series of small-scale experiments in plant cultivation, had now become the backbone of human society. In regions like Mesopotamia, the Nile Valley, and along the Indus and Yellow rivers, the rich alluvial soils provided fertile grounds for large-scale agricultural activities. The consistent food supply enabled by farming allowed populations to expand. As communities grew, so did their needs for organization and structure, leading to more complex social and political systems. This era saw the emergence of some of the first proto-cities. These were larger than the villages of early Neolithic times and showed clear evidence of planning and division into different areas for different activities such as markets, residential areas, and temples. Uruk in southern Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq, stands as a quintessential example of this transition, emerging around 6,000 years ago during the Uruk period. This period signaled important urban centers by notable advancements in architecture, the inception of cuneiform script, and the emergence of centralized governance and religious authority. Uruk's expansion and its architectural innovations, including the renowned White Temple and ziggurat, demonstrates its role as a cradle of civilization, influencing subsequent urban and cultural developments. Contrastingly, the site of Neolithika in Ukraine, associated with the Cucuteni Trypillian culture, presents an interesting parallel, featuring around 1,500 structures arranged in concentric circles, suggesting early experiments in high-density living and urban planning. However, despite its organized layout, it lacked the economic and trade advancements seen in Uruk, and its societal evolution suggests a trajectory that diverged from the urbanization and state formation observed in Mesopotamia. The Neolithic also saw significant advancements in technology and craft. Metallurgy began to emerge, initially with the use of native copper and later bronze, an alloy of copper and tin, leading into the Bronze Age. This was a monumental shift as metal tools and weapons were more effective and durable than their stone counterparts. The introduction of the wheel, around 5,500 years ago, revolutionized transportation and pottery production, further enhancing trade and communication among burgeoning societies. The cultural aspects of Neolithic life also became more complex. Art in the form of pottery, figurines, and cave paintings flourished, reflecting not only aesthetic values but also religious beliefs. Megalithic structures like Stonehenge in England and the Passage tombs of Newgrange in Ireland stood as testimony to the era's architectural ingenuity and its spiritual or ceremonial importance. Agriculture was not just a means of subsistence, it was also the basis of wealth and power. Control over land and its produce became a source of social and political power. This gave rise to hierarchies and inequalities, laying the foundation for the emergence of ruling classes and institutionalized forms of leadership. However, the spread of agriculture and the rise of settled communities had its downsides. Sedentary lifestyles led to new health challenges such as tooth decay and malnutrition due to diet changes. Moreover, the close proximity in which people lived in urban centers led to the spread of communicable diseases. Additionally, environmental degradation began to emerge as deforestation and intensive farming practices took their toll on the landscape. One of the most remarkable outcomes of these interactions was the spread of metalworking. The late Neolithic period saw the transition from the use of stone tools to those made of metals, marking a significant technological leap. The discovery of smelting, the process of extracting metal from ore, led to the creation of stronger, more durable tools and weapons. This innovation heralded the end of the Neolithic era and the beginning of the Bronze Age, a period defined by the widespread use of bronze, an alloy of copper and tin. The architectural feats of the late Neolithic were no less impressive. Monumental structures like the megaliths continued to evolve in sophistication and scale. These structures, ranging from stone circles to elaborate tombs, reflect not only advanced building techniques but also the emergence of complex social and religious systems. They were likely places of ritual and ceremony, integral to the cultural and spiritual life of these communities. The rise of more stratified and hierarchical societies was another hallmark of the late Neolithic. The accumulation of wealth in the form of land, livestock, and stored crops led to the emergence of a ruling class. These elites often controlled not just economic resources, but also religious and political power. This social stratification was a precursor to the development of full-fledged states and civilizations. Despite these advancements, the late Neolithic was not devoid of challenges. The increasing demand for resources, coupled with growing populations, led to environmental stress. Overfarming and deforestation resulted in soil degradation and a decrease in biodiversity. These environmental changes had significant impacts on these societies, sometimes leading to their decline or forcing them to adapt and innovate further. And that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed the content, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting historical content. Click the notification bell so you're always updated when we release new